Ghost of Yotei, the long-awaited sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, somehow went under the radar for a title of this scale, not even nominated for the GOTY. Which brings up the question, is Ghost of Yotei worth it? I think it is criminally underrated. That's what we'll talk about in this video. I'm a big fan of the previous game, and I'll share with you the things that I liked, the things that I didn't, and overall discuss everything this game has to offer. Don't worry, I won't show any spoilers. This game looks, feels, and runs incredibly well. The shots and the soundtrack make it feel like a combination of the Wild West and Japan. You can say many things about Sony, but one aspect that is almost always flawless with their exclusive titles is how well optimized they are. If you boot up the game, it takes 5 seconds to load. Seriously, 5 seconds between the home screen and actually playing. That's amazing. If you fast travel, it's the same story. You spawn exactly where you need to be in the blink of an eye. The frame rate doesn't drop, transitions between past and present are seamless, and background elements don't suddenly pop into view. Trust me, the performance here is outstanding. The graphics themselves are very good, but the art direction is what truly elevates the visuals. At times, it feels slightly exaggerated to me though. Small details like leaves dramatically lifting when you walk through them. I do like it, but it can feel a bit overdone. Still, that's a minor complaint. The colors are vibrant, the environments are beautiful, and I really like how the map feels different from Ghost of Tsushima's. It might be because I played the original years ago, but the biomes feel distinctive enough to make this generally feel like a sequel set on a new land rather than a reused location, and that's great. The map is incredibly addictive to explore. If you decide to head toward a mission and let the wind guide you, I guarantee you'll get distracted by 4 different activities along the way, and every detour feels rewarding. First of all, can we appreciate how gorgeous horse riding is in these games? You could honestly just gallop around endlessly and still have fun. I'm not a big fan of how the camera switches to a more cinematic angle when you pick up speed. But hey, if you're like me, you could just press R3 to restore the full camera view, which helps a lot for me. You'll also find white flowers scattered around the map that give you a speed boost when you pass through them, along with plenty of environmental interactions, wild horses running alongside you, birds flying away, and other small immersive touches. There's background music as well, and you can even just play lo-fi if you want to relax. The scenery is stunning. One of my favorite things about Ezo is that you can find many little settlements full of people. It makes it feel alive compared to the first one. The NPC's animations are rough when they're not in a cutscene, improved upon the first game, but still very robotic. Stopping anywhere always feels worthwhile, whether it's a shrine to upgrade your character, a bandit camp full of loot, or interactions with merchants who provide information about the Yotei 6 locations. Everything feels worth your time. I also haven't finished the game yet, but so far it seems like you can choose how to approach the Yotei 6. You start the game by killing the snake during the tutorial, and then the map opens up. This is a great change from the first game where arrows were locked behind story progression. Here, I've been able to choose who my next target is. I'm not sure yet if there's a specific order later on, but this added freedom makes exploration much more engaging. Also, there are several new mechanics such as camping in the wild. Camping allows you to craft some gear, cook food, and get an extra resolve point. But it also lets other characters join you. You can trade, gather information, advance missions, and unlock bonus perks. There's also a new metagame that is honestly a lot of fun. You need to hit coins consecutively to earn points, but if they fall off the table or you hit more than one at a time, you lose. It might not be as intricate as Gwent, but it's a great test of precision, which leads me to another feature that I really enjoyed at this new entry. The game makes solid use of the DualSense controller. You can paint using the touchpad, start fires with the triggers, cook by moving the controller to mimic the motion of the meat, and experience other small but immersive details. It's not Astro's Playroom level, but the DualSense features are well utilized, and I really appreciate that. One of the few games that actually make use of it. I don't like that you can skip most of the mechanics though. It feels as if the developers don't fully commit to them, and instead give you the option to skip them. I don't like how much the game helps you if you take more than 5 seconds to find the answer to something. You can also switch between past and present in certain areas, and honestly, I'm not a fan of it. It feels unnecessary and somewhat like filler content. I also want to mention the fact that apparently the animations and cinematics actually change depending on the language you choose. I tried English and Japanese. I gotta tell you, for me, Japanese is miles better. It truly elevates the game. The English voice for Kid Atsu is so bad.
Make it up there. You have to call me Sensei.
The thing is that they use the same actress that they use for Atsu as an adult. It sounds so forced. It's worth it to read subtitles just to hear Atsu in Japanese. I love how little information is displayed on the screen. It looks absolutely gorgeous. A big reason why the game is so visually impressive is the lack of UI clutter. You're not constantly bombarded with markers or on-screen information, and that's fantastic. The map and menus are also very well designed. very pretty. The map features a Japanese canvas art style that looks beautiful. While it's minimal, it still provides all the information you need. Instead of a traditional quest list, you select activities using small icons at the bottom of the screen, which feels very intuitive. You can also see rewards each mission offers. You can find little sections of the map and place it on top of the map to find POIs that will help you. I really appreciate this minimalist approach. There's something about the tutorial that I found a bit strange. You see, the game begins with Atsu hunting down Snake. I like how it jumps straight to the action. You get a brief cutscene with flashbacks explaining your motivations for revenge, and then you're immediately playing. At first, I thought this section was a tutorial, and I like that the game didn't hold your hand. It doesn't tell you exactly where to go or what to do, you just know it. During the fight, the game assumes you're already familiar with basic controls. It tells you which button is for attacking, and that's pretty much it. You naturally figure out dodging, jumping, and movement on your own. You go through this entire section with very little guidance, and the Snake is surprisingly challenging for a first fight. But right after defeating him, you suddenly get a full combat tutorial that explains every button and every mechanic step by step. And that's where it feels odd. You're forced to defeat a much harder enemy before the tutorial, and then the tutorial explains mechanics that you already used to win that fight. I found it unnecessary, though I do understand why some players might prefer a more traditional tutorial. That aside, the combat is excellent. And when I say excellent, I really mean it. It's incredibly satisfying. Interestingly, the game doesn't feature a lock-on system, but that works in its favor. You'll often face multiple enemies at once, and the freedom to direct your attacks wherever you want makes combat feel fluid and dynamic. The combat system builds on Ghost of Tsushima's and improves it in almost every way. In the first game, you had stances that were effective against different enemy types. In Ghost of Yotei, that concept evolves into a weapon-based system. For example, dual katanas are effective against spear-wielding enemies. The kusarigama works best against shields, while your standard katana works best against swordsmen. There's another weapon type that I haven't unlocked yet, but the core idea remains the same. It just looks and feels much cooler. Come on, just look at that. There are good risk-reward mechanics. Some enemy attacks are marked in yellow and can't be blocked. Instead, you need to perform a specific counterattack. If you succeed, the enemy is disarmed. If you fail, you get disarmed. I love the system because it rewards skill while punishing mistakes. You can also pick up weapons from fallen enemies and throw them for instant kills, or drink sake mid-fight to restore resolve. I'm telling you, the combat is fantastic. However, the same cannot be said for stealth. While it has improved compared to the first game, NPC behavior still feels a bit bland for me. The stealth sections aren't particularly engaging. It's not terrible, but it's very basic. Even if you're spotted in a bandit camp, enemies won't fully react unless someone blows a horn. The enemy variety is very good. If I remember correctly, all the enemies from the first game were the same, but in this one, you can find a new faction of enemies in every new region that you explore, and they all have their distinctive outfits, weapons, and combat style. You also have a wolf companion that you can upgrade, and he will join you in fights from time to time. The Onryo's Howl is so damn cool. Every time I activate it, I don't even do it to kill someone. I mainly do it because how cool it looks. It's revenge incarnate as an ability. I feel unstoppable walking that slow and terrifying my enemies. The drip in this game is so good. I love every outfit Atsu has. They all look cool and have different bonuses for your playstyle. The game is genuinely challenging. You can choose the difficulty at the start, and I personally went with hard. There's also lethal mode, which is even more punishing, as every hit guarantees death. I'd recommend finishing the game on hard first, and then attempting lethal once you're more comfortable. You really need to learn the enemy attack patterns, switch between weapons, and use your ninja tools effectively. This isn't a game you can simply button smash through. You need to stay focused at all times during combat. I died at least 10 times during the tutorial alone. I can't even imagine how brutal lethal mode is, but I'm definitely trying it at some point. The combat in the previous game was already excellent, one of the most refined open world combat systems in my opinion, but now the crown belongs to Ghost of Yotei. That said, one aspect where this sequel struggles to compete is in the story and the protagonist. Don't get me wrong, Atsu's character and story are solid. However, I don't think they reach the same level of depth achieved in the first game. The narrative relies heavily on flashbacks and past events to flesh out Atsu's character, and while they're effective, they can sometimes pull you out of the experience. By the way, I don't understand why some people are calling it Ghost of Woke. I'd be the first one to get annoyed by that. But so far I haven't encountered anything remotely woke in this game. At its core, this is a story about revenge. Jin Sakai's story, on the other hand, was about a man torn between honor and sacrifice to save his people. A complex choice between dying as a samurai or betraying his values to live as a ghost. Khotun-kan was also an incredible villain. I'll never forget the opening scene where he explains how he learned the language and culture in order to conquer Tsushima. Lord Saito is a good protagonist, but so far, I don't find him as compelling as the previous villain. Again, Atsu and Lord Saito work well for a sequel, but I find it hard for their story and characters to impact me as deeply as Ghost of Tsushima did. The moment everyone has been waiting for. Is Ghost of Yotei worth it? Is it better than Ghost of Tsushima? If I had to guess, I'd say the sequel surpasses Ghost of Tsushima in nearly every gameplay related aspect. Unfortunately, the story and protagonists don't feel quite as impactful as those of the original. That said, the spin-off is incredibly addictive. The controls feel great, the combat is outstanding, the story is solid, and the performance and art direction are exceptional. Just so you know how good Ghost of Yotei is, I've played for more than 20 hours. I've found more than 10 armor sets, 4 different weapon types, and I'm pretty sure I haven't even completed a third of the story. That's how addictive and fun this game is. And with that, I also want to mention the fact that maybe the story does surpass Ghost of Tsushima's. I've been having so much fun exploring that I haven't progressed the story that much, and what I've seen is great. So maybe it'll be just as good as the first game. I doubt it, but we'll see. I'm genuinely having a blast with it, and it's kind of a shame that it went under the radar. It's a fantastic spin-off with enough differences to feel fresh, improving on almost every aspect while still preserving the essence of the first game. So yeah, have you played Ghost of Yotei? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I'd love to reach in the comments below. Don't forget to like and sub, come on. I know you want to, and it would mean the world to me. I'm gonna leave 2 videos here in case you're interested in them. Thank you so much for watching. I am the Valley Knight, and I'll see you in the next video.